Hello, everyone. I know it's not been very pleasant. The last week and a half in the news has not been pleasant at all. What a lousy, lousy ending to a lousy, lousy year. Now, why do you think that is? Have you ever wondered about that? Have you ever thought? Wonder why that is? Wonder why was such a lousy, lousy year? Could be just the patterns of the universe going like this and this hills and troughs. Or could have been all pre-planned. Keep that thought in mind, and I'll remind you of that later on in this video. So, in the news, first of all, it's the COVID relief bill. Trump put the brakes on the COVID relief bill for a little while. Then he did sign it into law, he did pass it, and they did make amends and change the amount that the average taxpayer was going to get out the payout. They raised the amount. I'm not exactly sure how much they raised it, but it was $600 before, so they're definitely going to pay us more than that. They had about $54.7 billion in pork in this bill. Was wasteful spending, like, for example, spraying bobcat urine at alcoholic rats. Spraying bobcat urine at alcoholic rats. I think they allocated $5 million for that. $5 million. More money you've ever seen in your entire life, most of you, for spraying bobcat urine at alcoholic rats. They took your money to do this. It was all told, and they sent, I think they sent $700 million to Sudan, $1.2 billion to, I think it was Egypt, to buy weapons from Russia for whatever purpose they may possibly have, maybe to make war in the Middle East, make war on Israel again, because Egypt and Israel have been at war before. So there was a bunch of junk in this bill, and was lobbyists that put it there. Lobbyists and their lawyers wrote all this up. There were 5,000 pages. The bill was 6 times as long, 6 times longer, 6 times longer than the Bible, and nobody read it. There was all this pork and wasteful spending in there. And Trump objected. He asked for more money for the American people, and everyone jumped down his back and said that he was trying to withhold money from the American people. He did get them to promise to raise the amount they're allocating to the American people and to cut some wasteful spending. And he did get a bigger payout for us, which is great. So you can all thank Trump for that. He stuck to his guns and he got us a bigger payout. What else is in the news? There's the Mueller probe. Take a look at the links in the description. So a link to information about the Mueller probe. Very intelligent lady, spoke intelligently about the Mueller probe, knew everything about it, and told us about the deep state, which Democrats are really raises their gander. They get really mad. They get so mad when they hear the words deep state. And they would just like to pretend that there isn't a deep state and hope that it just all goes away. And that's because of the way Republicans are using it. But Democrats are victims of the deep state too. Do you think that just because you're a Democrat, you're immune from the deep state? No. What is deep state? Well, it's basically the alphabet agencies doing their worst deeds. And big organizations, there's lots of people with lots of different agendas, and all those agendas and all those bosses that are in charge of those agendas going all day long, all night long. That's what we mean by the deep state. There's no oversight. There's no judicial oversight. There's no congressional oversight. There's not even any presidential oversight. It's just guys with power exercising their power unchecked. And if anyone does try to check their power, they just slap a big top secret label on it. That's the deep state. And you think it's not real? Try looking at the budget, the yearly budget for example, CIA, the Pentagon, the NSA, the FBI. Look at their annual budget, and then tell me, oh, there's no guys there. There's no guys working for them. They have no employees. And CIA, by the way, keeps the number of their employees top secret also. Not allowed to know how many employees they have. Oh, there's no guys working there. Just look away. Just look away. Nothing to see here, folks. Just look away. There's nothing going on. Well, Trump isn't the only victim of the deep state. He really isn't. Americans were spied upon. We know that from the revelations of, certain guys made revelations about NSA spying. They've made it clear to us that we've been spied upon, we've been wiretapped, all our conversations have been listened to, and they still are. So, there's really no secrecy anymore, and there's no privacy anymore. We have no privacy rights anymore. Because they could just find a workaround. They just do things illegally anyway. And then slap top secret on it, so there's nothing we can do. As long as they still are allowed to make things top secret. Now, I mean, obviously any country has to have state secrets. Otherwise they can't survive. But state secrets status has been very severely abused. It has been abused. And it's not a good situation for anyone at all. So guys like Snowden that came out with the information about ordinary Americans being wiretapped without cause, should know about it. We should know about it, and we should shine a light on it and ask Congress to do something about it. Also, there is the military spending bill. You should know about this. The military spending bill. Trump vetoed it. He vetoed the military spending bill. Apparently, he didn't want that. It had bipartisan support, almost 100%. Almost, maybe not quite, but almost 100% support from both parties in both houses of Congress, and Trump vetoed it. And it is awfully fishy, because we need our military to be strong right now. We need a strong military to protect us right now from our enemies. And if the military has no money, they have no power to protect us. Funding runs dry. That keeps our military going. So we're not protected right now. And guess what? That veto was overrided by the House. The House already overrided the veto. Now it's up to the Senate to also override the veto. Then it'll pass. But it is so crazy. It's so crazy that the bill got vetoed. Even if there is pork, it really needs to be passed regardless. We really need to have a strong military right now. It's essential for protecting us from our enemies around the world. Now, next in this list, attack on the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. Okay, there was an attack on the U.S. Embassy in Iraq, and this attack, they have strong reason within the military and also in the Trump administration to suspect that this attack was launched by, was funded by Iran. It was an Iran-backed extremist militia group. It was an extremist militia group within Iraq that was backed and funded by Iran. So they've been messing with us. Apparently, Iran's been messing with us. And the Iranians denied it and issued their own threat to Trump. Trump threatened them and said, if even one human life, if even one American life is lost, I will hold you fully accountable. And the Iranians threatened him right back. Said, we didn't do it, and if you accuse us again, we'll do this and that. So they were both trading threats. Now let's just say there, except that we knew that Iran was a threat, and that Iran was provoked supposedly by the assassination, which may have been an internal thing. It may have been them carrying out an assassination and then just framing Israel because they wanted to get back at us. They wanted to get at us through Israel. So we don't know what Iran is planning. We don't know what they're planning or what they're going to do next. Also in the news is Russia and China. Okay, there's this guy. He's an Indian guy. FTI, I think, FTI is his YouTube channel. He and you'll see the link in the description of this video. He seems to think that China and Russia are enemies, and that Russia is going to help India against China, and he's been saying this for a while now, that Russia is on their side, and that Russia and China do not have good relations, and that they're going to fight any second now, that they're enemies, and that he's claiming that all three entryways into China have been blockaded by Russia. And there's just as of a day or so ago, it's been the borders are open between China and Russia, and there's been goods flowing across, people going back and forth. So there's really no truth to this claim. This is a false claim. I decided to investigate it further. It turns out that some of the blockades that are going on right now are not because of animosity, but because of COVID, which both countries want to control. They both want to stop the stem of the virus, and they both want to control the virus. So if there are any blockades, it's COVID related, and it has nothing to do with animosity. So this is misleading at best, and at worst there's an agenda. And that agenda might be to provoke war between China and Russia. And I looked at a couple other websites, and there was basically another Indian writing for an Israeli website, and you can see this also in the description. There's a link there on this Israeli website. There was a Indian writing that there's going to be war sometime in the 2020s. Sometime in the 2020s, there's going to be war between China and Russia. Now, if you do a quick fact check and you go online and look at everything everyone has to say, and also check Wikipedia out, you'll see that there is a truce of friendship between China and Russia. Has been for 2 decades now, 20 years. They signed a pact. It expires this coming year. This new year, it expires. And Xi Jinping and Putin love each other. They're all friends. These guys love each other. They're all pals. And they've sworn fealty to each other and to even defend each other in the event of any altercation at all, that they'll come to each other's aid in defense. And of course, both of them are united against the U.S. They have a common cause against the U.S. They don't like U.S. dominance in the world, and they would like to find a way to bring that dominance to an end. So they're in league. They're friends. So what is the reason for this hidden agenda, and what is the agenda on both sides? Well, I'll tell you what the agenda is. I've observed this. The conservatives want to paint a picture of enmity between China and Russia with the possible motive of provoking a war between China and Russia. They want to provoke war between China and Russia, the conservatives do. The liberals want to paint a picture of friendship and fealty between Russia and China, and possibly inform people that China and Russia are united against the United States. They're united against a common enemy, a common cause, which is the United States. Well, what could be the possible reason for this? Well, possibly the conservatives think that if they provoke war between China and Russia, that if there's a war between China and Russia, that they'll waste all their missiles on each other and won't attack us. Just very, very primitive thinking, very low-level thinking, and it probably won't work. Probably won't work at all. On the liberal side, it's kind of dangerous, because the liberal side is dangerous. They think, well, we're keeping the peace and everything will be peaceful. Everything will be peaceful, and China and Russia won't attack anyone. They'll just stay friends and everybody will be friends. But by uniting China and Russia, by pulling them closer together and saying, yes, they're friends, yes, they're united, and then making it clear, yes, they're united against the United States, maybe they could push them over the edge of having a sweetheart deal to attack the U.S. together. So just something to think about, some of the motives. Think about the motives and the spy work and all the things that at play. It's so interesting to look at all the different motives that these different groups have, and how some of these radicals on the right are playing a dangerous game. They're playing a dangerous game. The liberals are playing a dangerous game too. It's a dangerous game. It really is a dangerous game. And not to say that the public shouldn't be informed. If you really want to stay informed about what's going on between China and Russia, and you really want to know, there is border conflict, but within Beijing and Moscow, there is no conflict. So they actually are really, really good friends. They could unite against the United States, but so far it's only been like economic sanctions so far. It hasn't been military conquest. So, but keep your eye on that. Keep your eye on that and keep informed, because China did sign that pact with Iran, and Iran is a hothead, and China could get involved in a war with the U.S. through Iran, and then Russia would be dragged into it. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, and remember that Russia did put a bounty on the heads of U.S. servicemen just a few years ago. So they are not our friends at all. They're still our enemies, even if they're not the communists anymore. And they may actually revert back to communism after a while. But they're not our friends either way. Also in the news is the Nashville bombing. Ooh, the Nashville bombing. There's actually very, very strong evidence that this guy really was afraid of 5G, and that was his motive. Because the place that he blew up AT&T. He blew up AT&T. There were outages, cell phone outages, all over Tennessee. And for hundreds of miles there were outages because he blew up the AT&T service center. And they found out it was a major weakness. All they had was a thick wall, and it wasn't enough to protect. He loaded up an RV with explosives, and he blew the place up. Now you see that people feel very strongly about 5G. Tell you something, when you hold a cell phone in your hand and it's 4G. 4G, you're holding a cell phone in your hand, it is 4G, produces the same energy. The cell phone is giving off the same energy as a microwave oven. Same frequency as a microwave oven. Maybe not the same power level as a microwave oven. It doesn't use the same power level as a microwave oven. It's a much lower power level, but it is the same frequency as a microwave oven. When you hold that in your hand for hours and hours and hours, okay, it's like putting your hand right on a light bulb. And you know what happens when you put your hand on a light bulb? You get burned. So that's burning your hand all the time, and eventually it could cause skin cancer. Could. Holding your cell phone in your hand could cause skin cancer. It is possible because it puts out energy all the time, constantly. It's constantly chattering. If you're going to surf, a tablet or a laptop used with a stylus is the safest way to go. Cell phones are addictive. They're easy to use. You can use them when you're lying on your back in the dark, and they're tempting. But they're irradiating your skin. I even got like a little mole on my hand from all the cell phone use, and I got that years ago when I just started using cell phones when there's just still 3G. So no doubt this energy is dangerous. The 5G could be dangerous. It's one big experiment. There's nowhere you can go to get away from it, and we're about to find out. We're about to find out what it does to people. Unfortunately, we're about to find out what it does to people. Within about a year's time, it won't have much of an effect. Okay, it really won't in 1 year's time. It takes years and years for it to have an effect, because I've already had it for a whole year in Europe, and it had no effect. But it could have an effect. And I'll tell you something. Within the past 10 years, since cell phone use increased, the rate of skin cancer has increased 20%. 20% increase in skin cancer. Now, environmentalists will say, oh, it's the ozone layer, it's the environment, the sun is getting hotter, and Earth's getting closer to the sun, and we're about to bake, we're going to fry. No. The ozone hole is closed up. People stopped using the refrigerant, the CFCs, and it's closed up. We have an ozone layer again. It's not the lack of ozone. In fact, some places have too much ozone. Like especially polluted cities have a lot of ozone. So your skin is really safe in a smoggy city. It really is. Your lungs may not be safe, but your skin is safe. It's not the sun. It's causing a 20% increase in skin cancer. It's not what you're eating either. Because we've been eating bad for almost a century now. We've had sugar, we've had soft drinks, we've had junk, we've had white flour and sugar. It's not what you're eating either that's causing the skin cancer. Really, literally, is these cell phones and the radiation that they emit is causing these skin cancers. And recommend, can't avoid the 5G. Can't avoid 5G, but I do recommend that you not use cell phones as little as possible. Just use cell phones infrequently, if best, because just holding that in your hand is really damaging. It's really damaging you. So the Nashville bombing, this guy was crazy and he could have killed somebody, but he didn't. He killed himself. He blew up in the explosion, but and his girlfriend was afraid because he was making bombs. But he could have killed someone, but he injured 3 people, but they weren't critically injured, so that's a good thing. I would think hard and long if you were like in charge of FCC or telecommunications. I would think long and hard about how people really feel about this 5G and whether people really want it or not. Do people really want it or not? Why should you push it through so hard and so fast before it's been properly tested, which it hasn't? Technology has not been tested for safety. Also, Georgia runoff. Obviously, what could happen is that the Democrats could gain total, complete control. Right now, there's these bleeding heart liberals, they're crying. Oh, boo-hoo. It'll be 4 more years. 4 more years of gridlock. 4 more years of no bills being passed. 4 more years of government shutdowns. And 4 more years of not getting anything done. But isn't that what we really want? Don't we want gridlock? Don't we want nothing to get done in Washington? I think so. We don't want government shutdown, but government shutdown was Trump's idea. Wasn't Biden's idea. And Biden's not going to threaten to do any government shutdowns. I don't buy it. I don't buy that Biden's going to threaten to shut down the government if he doesn't get his way. I don't buy that even once. So, because there's not going to be any government shutdowns, I wouldn't be crying about it or scaring people saying there's going to be another government shutdown if they don't vote Democrat. Okay? We do not want the Democrats to have a free pass. We don't want their policies anymore. We don't want them hurting our poorest in our country or our communities. We don't want them getting a free pass. So we want gridlock. We want Republican senators to be able to be gatekeepers and to block legislation if they don't agree with it. We want there to be thinking people who are rational, sane, and voicing objections, weighing the pros and cons. We do not want a free pass. No way. No way do we want a free pass to the Democrats. So if you don't want Democrats to have a free pass, even if you are liberal and you just don't want the Democrats to have a free pass because you believe in checks and balances, write your checks to Loeffler and that other guy. That guy, the two Republican Georgia senators, right? Write them your checks. There's only a few days left. There's only a few days left before the election, and we really want them to have the funds they need to make a win. We really want them to win. No guarantees. Your money doesn't really buy them votes, but they can at least make an effort. And in fact, I have an even better idea. Instead of just writing a check to their campaigns, what's even better is for you to write a check to the Georgia Republican Party. Not to Trump, not a diversionary money, and not to their campaigns, but to the Georgia Republican Party. Because they can actually air what you might say attack ads, and you're all familiar with attack ads. But attack ads can be incredibly effective. So that now you know where to send your money if you're interested in creating checks and balances in our government. Next thing, you should know that last but not least, New York City teenagers, there were 50 of them, went out on bicycles and began attacking. They attacked a cab and they attacked an SUV, and the person inside the SUV thought they were going to die. They really thought they were going to die, that was the end. They were screaming at them to get out of their vehicles. They were attacking, smashed their side mirror off, clean off their vehicle, smashed their windshield, smashed all their windows, beating up their SUV. They had to drive away to escape. And at least one 15-year-old got charged, but he's keeping mum about his friends. They're going to have to track them down on social media and figure out how they organized. This is not good, and I think that it's mind control. That is my stated belief. It's mind control. But apparently they were very inspired by the riots. They're very inspired by the riots, and they don't care that Biden got elected. They just want destruction. They don't need a cause. They're rebels without a cause. They just want destruction, and they want to keep the destruction going. It's all good to them. It's all good to them. They just want to keep the destruction going. So now this comes to why in the last week, right after Christmas, before and after Christmas, did all of these things happen at once. At once. Just to end the worst year ever on a low note. Well, I have a theory about why this is all happening. I think that the powers that be shall remain unnamed, but you know who they are. You can figure it out. It's powers that be want to upset people, get their spirits down, send them into a panic, to ruin their New Year's Eve completely. They want to ruin New Year's Eve. They want to destroy people's trust in, for example, their government and in their country and in their fellow countrymen. They want to sow division. They want people to get upset, and they want people to panic. So they plan and they plot, and they plot and plan some more, and they present all of these things to us in the news. Present them in the news. They know that the media are their hounds, will report anything they want. They know they can make anything happen that they want to with their money. And they do. They do. They do it with your taxpayer dollars. And also with whatever you buy from these companies. It's powers that be very rich. Very rich on taxpayer dollars. Money is flowing to them like wine. It gets them drunk. Then in their drunken stupor, they decide to do these things to us. Well, time cut them off, cut them short, and for the money that's flowing like wine to go dry. So just quit giving them your business. On a higher level, what's going on? On a spiritual level, what's going on? I'll tell you who might be involved in these plots. It's evil spirits. Yes, it's true. Evil spirits could well have been an active force behind all of this mayhem that could have inspired it in these human beings. And they're a very powerful force. They have human friends. They have human friends that help them to infiltrate minds. They've been unlocking minds and using mind control techniques on people. They've been controlling people's minds, controlling their minds, influencing their hearts, and corrupting their spirits. So what I have done on this 31st of December 2020 is that I have basically invoked Goddess and asked the Goddess to bring these demons to justice for once and for all. And they will be brought to justice very soon. I don't know when. I left that in Goddess's hands because that is Goddess's decision. But I have called down her wrath upon them. And it won't be very much longer before her wrath is called upon these evil spirits. There's one other thing you should know. Just flashed into my head the other day. Flashed into my mind. Was 45, the number 45 times 45, so 45 squared. It's another square number, 45 squared. Did 45 squared, and the answer was 2025. Wow, 2025, that sounds like a year, doesn't it? 2025 isn't that far away. This coming year is 2021. So 2025 is the next year after an election. It's the next year after an election. If you are a government guy, if you are a police chief, if you are a first responder, if you're a mayor, or a governor, if you have any influence at all, if you have any influence or any power, okay, remember 2025, because there could be some bad actors planning something for 2025 just because it has numerological significance. 9/11 also had numerological significance, believe it or not. Well, it had significance because it was also the emergency number 911, which everyone thought was a joke. Or at least the terrorists thought it was a joke. But somebody could be planning something bad for 2025. Last time this happened, 44 times 44, the last time there was a round number squared was the year 1936. And what happened in the year 1936? Well, it was the rise of Adolf Hitler. Something to think about, something to keep in mind. Remember this year 2025, remember that number, and plan accordingly. Plan against a possible attack of some sort in the year 2025, because somebody could be plotting to do something bad that year. And also, if you want to know the numerological significance of the number 45, 45, 4 plus 5 adds up to 9 numerologically. So that is the number of war, of the planet Mars or the god Mars, and also males and men. So it applies to men, to Mars, and to war. And so it could be a year of great violence and of warfare. And somebody could be planning something or plotting an attack on that year. So just keep that in mind. Prepare accordingly. There's no knowing who will win the next election. Only the powers that be really know who they have picked out for us or what they're plotting. Just remember this. Be prepared. Prepare now. Prepare now for a possible bad actor. This is not, I will predict, this is not a prediction. It's not some psychic prediction or anything like that. It's just a basic observation of human nature and the way people use numerology for evil or devious ends. So that's it. Have a great New Year's, everyone. Take care of your friends and family. Don't forget to keep preparing for a disaster. And I'll see you next time.